Hey guys, Andrew Edwards here, editor-in-chief of GearLive.com, and I've already brought you my top 5 features of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. I brought you the initial unboxing. I've showed you some cases that you might want to pick up for your Galaxy Note 7 after you've replaced it due to that battery recall. You don't want any accidents happening. But now after all that, it's time for the full review. So I've gathered all my thoughts in this video, the final video in the Galaxy Note 7 series. Is the Galaxy Note 7 worth your time? Is it worth your attention? And most of all, of course, is it worth your money? Let's find out right now in the Galaxy Note 7 review. Let's do it. What started as a completely redundant niche in 2011 has evolved into one of the most awaited flagships every year. You might question why it isn't the Note 6 you're meeting this year, but in an attempt to streamline their offerings, Samsung has skipped the 6 for a more gorgeous yet familiar Note 7. The all-glass design is retained from its preceding generation and siblings, with the metal frame around adding just the right premium look and feel. The right and left sides of the phone house the robust power and volume control keys respectively, while the bottom houses the S Pen slot, a pretty poor speaker unit, the primary microphone, and the Samsung first in the USB-C port with Quick Charge 2.0, and a 3.5mm headphone jack, which will probably start becoming a little bit more of a rarity over the next year. Up on the top edge, you'll also find the SIM card tray, which also houses a micro SD card slot as well for up to 256 gigabytes of expansion. Moving over to the front, you'll find a variety of proximity sensors, the LED indicator, an IR port for the iris scanner, the loudspeaker, and the 5-megapixel wide-angle selfie camera. The bottom chin sports the home button that doubles as a very fast fingerprint scanner, which is also flanked by capacitive back and multitasking buttons. Lastly, on back of the device, there's the 12-megapixel dual-pixel camera unit with LED flash and the heart rate monitor. The 78% screen-to-body ratio means that the 5.7-inch Quad HD AMOLED display provides some of the most immersive experiences in a smartphone thanks to its almost bezel-less curved edge design. The 518 pixels per inch on the screen make content consumption sharp, while a layer of Gorilla Glass 5 may help in terms of protection. Rounding out the hardware tour, there's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820, which is a quad-core 64-bit chip running at 2.2 GHz, an Adreno 530 GPU, 4 GB of RAM, and 64 GB of built-in storage with a 3500 mAh battery that lasts for about 6.5 hours of on-screen time. So premium hardware in a premium shell is a pretty rare find, and the addition of IP68 certification, which makes it pretty much water resistant. The Note 7 manages to check almost all boxes, apart from its tendency to catch fingerprints and catch on fire, at least until the recall is complete. Now, this won't help with the battery, but to protect it from fingerprints as well as slipping, you can fix that with a D-brand skin. They come in various colors and textures and fit the device perfectly. You can learn more through the link that I'll leave in the description below to find the perfect D-brand skin for your Galaxy Note 7. Moving on to media consumption, this one is a mixed bag. Now, the screen does perform well thanks to its use of mobile HDR technology and the video enhancer feature in supported applications to produce some of the most vivid scenes you've ever seen on a smartphone. The audio quality from the speakers is just pretty bad. They do get loud, but it's not the experience you find with front-facing speakers, and covering the speakers up at full volume leads to a tremendous drop in sound output. However, instead of completely neglecting sound, Samsung has included a few quirks to play around with to fine-tune the experience as per the individual's preference. Moving on to the camera, the hardware side of things remains identical to the Galaxy S7 series, so get a 12-megapixel dual-pixel unit with an f1.7 aperture that produces some insanely quick focus times and detailed pictures in well-lit scenarios. The drop in quality in the dark is not as considerable as most might think, with it still faring pretty well. The camera is also capable of taking 4K video at 30 frames per second, which produces good, stabilized footage thanks to the onboard optical image stabilization, and captures detail nicely even though it might be a bit blown out in dimly lit conditions. It was a pleasant surprise to find the microphone quality also very audible, especially in louder environments. The suite of effects and modes provided on Samsung's camera app are plentiful, with manual mode providing a good level of control over shots. As for that front-facing 5-megapixel camera, it's more than capable of taking selfies in most conditions and also can record footage in up to 2K, which is great for vlogging purposes, except if you're outside at night. All right, I'm testing out low light. As you can see, this is pretty grainy. I'm in a room that is almost completely dark except for some light coming from the the night sky. There's a TV behind me right there and a light in the bathroom, but that's actually a super dim light. But for some reason, this camera picks it up like it's super bright. That's actually really dim. But again, as you can see, really grainy, low light video footage, so you definitely want to have some light. All of this combined with the relatively quick launch time of the application and the features and effects it brings to the table makes the Note 7's camera one of the best on a smartphone today. But no good smartphone is complete without checking all the boxes in terms of performance. You've got a Snapdragon 820 chip and 4 GB of RAM, and they do a decent job of running TouchWiz with some RAM management issues. But the performance is poorer than the Exynos chip that you'll find in international Note 7s, which I found surprising. Regular day-to-day tasks are fine, and Samsung's TouchWiz UI, even though pretty heavy and not my favorite, does pack some interesting features. Native split screen functionality and the arrangement of notifications into cleaner looking lists, something we have seen just introduced in Android Nougat, is already present. The ability to fine-tune the screen's colors, screen enhancing software discussed previously, and the secure folder is available too, to store all those things that are not safe for work. The array of S Pen features also adds a lot of functionality to the device in my opinion. The slightly thinner nib at 0.7mm makes writing feel real, and the host of different air command features are neat. The additions here are magnify, allowing you to zoom into something on screen by hovering over it, and translate, another hover feature to translate a word displayed on screen to your preferred language. Something also worth noticing is the glance feature, which allows users to minimize an application and perform tasks in the background and re-access it by hovering over it. The ways to use the S Pen are seemingly endless, and it's only up to your imagination as to what the limits are. Samsung's definitely pushing the stylus even further, making it compatible underwater and accessible for an always-on display, S-Memo, and yet managing to reduce all their S Pen applications and bloatware into one streamlined S Notes application. Combine all of that with the Edge functionality for quick access to various essentials and a world's first iris scanner that performs surprisingly well in various environments, and you're looking at an absolute beast. TouchWiz skin might be a hindrance for many, but the amount of value Samsung has managed to incorporate into it is pretty astonishing. The changes are even evident in the power save mode of the device, which now lets users change the resolution of the display on the go for that extra punch in battery. Speaking of battery, you've got a 3500 mAh cell on the device to get you through the day pretty easily, just like the S7 Edge. You can expect up to 6.5 hours of screen on time with moderate and heavy use, but the Quick Charge 2.0, albeit an outdated charging feature, can get the juice back up pretty quickly. I was disappointed not seeing the Quick Charge 3.0 standard implemented, especially with the new USB-C port, but there is wireless charging nonetheless. And to address it one more time, the battery is having an issue right now. We are seeing recalls of the Note 7 by Samsung because they're exploding. So if you already have a Note 7 that has not been replaced, highly recommend you visit the store you bought it at and get your battery replaced to keep yourself and those around you safe. If you're in the market for the best and most feature-packed flagship smartphone on the market, the Note 7 is probably for you. While not everything about the phone on the software side is complete, the imminent launch of Android Nougat will most definitely fix a lot of the issues. The phone comes in black onyx, silver titanium, gold platinum, and the newest blue coral. It retails for $850 for the 64GB variant with micro SD support. As I mentioned, the Note 7 sports a hefty price tag to swallow and might not be the best upgrade from an S7 or S7 Edge, but it's definitely worth its money if you're coming from the Note 5 or any device prior to that. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this one, and if you loved it, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button by tapping on my face to stay updated on all my future reviews, tutorials, giveaways, and so much more. Leave a comment on what you think of the Galaxy Note 7 and whether you'll be picking this one up soon. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I'll catch you in the next video.